So think about, first specify the situation and problem. Is what exactly is it? What is that is worrying you, that's bothering you? And then ask for evidence for the way that you're thinking. Is it something out of the? Is this just my thoughts, my processes? Am I just like going on about something, or is it a real perceived threat? So check the reality check on your fear, on your stress. Then let's see what is the worst that can happen. Yeah. If you're worried that what's going to be the outcome and you're constantly worrying about it, think what is the worst situation and what would be, can I handle it? If the worst situation happens, can I handle it? Yeah. So if you're able to handle it, then that fear will calm down, right? The feeling, that kind of repetitive feeling will calm down. Or you can say, what do I have to gain if I have to say this or do this? And what is the probability of the worst situation happening? Yeah. What is the probability of the worst case situation happening? Is it a real probability, or is it something that's just fearful? Yeah. Is it just a fear playing on myself? For example, a lot of people are afraid of flying. You might have heard of, maybe not you, but it's common fear that people are afraid of flying. But is there any evidence for that fear? Yeah. Actually, there are more chances, probability of a car accident than a flight accident. Yeah. But it's just that the drama, as we saw in this case, and when it does happen rarely, it's all over the news. Yeah. Like there was a Malaysian Airlines as well that happened, right? That there was an incident that happened that got crashed. So similarly, it's because of those things, external factors that make fear flow in us. So then we have to do a reality check. How real is that fear? Yeah. So for example, even when stock market crash or something that happens, yeah. So when people started selling, then other people also saying, okay, what's going on? So many people are selling, then I should also sell it. Then that the cycle happens, and then everybody falls under that cycle, and then it has that impact. Yeah. And what specific steps can you take to begin immediately to improve upon the worst possible outcome? Yeah. So what can happen in case the worst situation happens? What are some steps that I can take to begin now, so that will improve the situation? So that way, you have a control over the situation. You're able to process the situation more effectively and act in a way that's rational. Okay. Another way is called the timeline therapy. Okay, timeline therapy. I don't know if I have that. Okay. So what is the timeline therapy? Maybe something is really frustrating you right now. Yeah, you're completely stressed out about it. You're totally afraid about it. Then, if that happens, put it into a timeline. Okay. Even if that thing happens that you're afraid of, how will it impact me 3 days from now? Yeah. Will I feel the same way about it 3 days from now? What about 3 months from now? Will I feel the same way about this thing 3 months from now? What about 3 years from now? Yeah? Would I feel the same way about it 3 years from now? So when you think of it in a timeline and you fast forward, then it's like after 3 years, I wouldn't even remember this happened. Yeah? So what's the big deal? Why am I so stressed out about it now? So that kind of helps you put things into perspective and look at the long term and things that it's not really as bad as you're thinking it's going to be. And eventually things will work out. So this is called the timeline therapy, another strategy that you can use. And what about, also let's talk about anger. We talked about fear and stress a little bit, right? What about anger? What are some strategies you can control anger when that does occur? When you feel anger is going out of control, that you're feeling this anger inside you, when it's rising and rising, what are some strategies we can use to control anger? Sorry? Dhikr, yeah, remember Allah, because A'udhu Billahi Minash Shaitanir Rajeem. That's as the Prophet said that when you feel angry, because shaitan instigates anger in you, it drives in your blood and makes you more angry. So say A'udhu Billah, so that helps, definitely. What else? Deep breath, very true. And we will cover that, the science behind that, in the next slide. So very good point. Deep breath, wait. Don't react immediately. When you wait, things settle down. Yeah. And along with that, there is also another recommendation. Sitting down, yes. Yes. So if you are standing, there's a hadith actually related to that. If you're standing, sit down. And if you're sitting, lay down. Change your position. This also impacts the blood flow, right? And there's some science behind it as well. And it helps you to regulate your emotions and change that. And another hadith also on controlling anger. Sorry? You're identifying the triggers, what triggered you to become angry. Identify that and do an analysis like we did before, right? What's really making me angry? What is the evidence for that? And go through that process that we talked about in the previous slide. And also doing wudu, that also helps. Water has a calming effect on us. So doing wudu also helps to restrict anger. Yeah. So great, excellent. So those strategies definitely help anger. Now let's go into the science behind what is called the amygdala hijack. Have you heard of this? Amygdala hijack. Okay. So a little bit of science, so bear with me. Okay. So amygdala is this gland in your brain over here, right? So simply saying, the front part of your brain, right? I'm very bad in bad artist, so well, let me just make a. This is your head, and this is your brain, right? And this is the front part of the brain is dealing with your CPU, central processing unit. Your thinking, your analysis, and everything is going to. Sorry, this is the back part of your brain. The back part of your brain is your CPU. All right, so let's put the nose here. So this is the front, bad nose. So this is the CPUs in the back. Oh, sorry. Let me take a step back. Let's restart this one. I don't want to confuse you. Okay, so the nose is here, and this is the brain here, right? This is the back part of the brain. This is your spinal cord here, right? Spinal cord, and this is your friend. All right, so this part, the back part of your brain is dealing with emotions, and the front part of your brain is dealing with your CPU, your analysis and processing and everything, okay? So your emotions, they travel from your body, from all the nervous system into your spinal cord, and it goes here, and then it goes here. So do you feel emotions first, or do you think first? Emotions first. So first, your signals, emotional signals travel into your emotional center, and then they come into your processing center. Yeah. So that's why when you pause, as you mentioned, it helps you control your emotions and choose the right response. If you give 3 seconds, 6 seconds pause instead of reacting immediately, then you let the signal travel from your emotional side into your thinking analysis side. So then you're able to choose a better reaction, inshallah. Yeah. And there's a part called the amygdala, right? And this amygdala, so that is your fight, flight, or freeze syndrome. Okay, so Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created this kind of emergency reaction in us. Like emergency, red alert, when the emergency happens, then the sirens go off and then you go into some survival mode. Yeah. So back in the day, we had to deal with predators, right? Deal with wild animals. All of a sudden you're going hunting, and then all of a sudden some tiger comes or a lion comes, and you just need to run for your life, or you need to fight. Yeah. So that's why you have this kind of. Then at that time, the amygdala, this gland, starts pumping into the ATP and all of that, and the science behind. So then your body goes into overdrive mode. So you are able to, when you're in that phase, you're able to run faster than you would normally. Normally, you would not be able to run so fast normally, but because of the additional adrenaline that's pumping, you're able to run much faster than before. Your heart will be beating much faster than before, and then you're able to you're able to have more strength than before. You're able to lift more at that time. So in those emergency situations to survive, this is kind of an instinct. Yeah. So there are 3 types of response you have in this emergency. One is the fight, right? The other one is the flight, to run away, escape, and then the third one is to freeze. Yeah. So this is called a fight, flight, or freeze response to emergency. Yeah. So when you recognize that, so in these kind of emergency situations, this gets triggered, and you will see this reaction, and then you will see a certain signals. As your heart will be beating much faster, your breath will be lower, and then you will have some sweaty palms and other things, and you might feel blood rushing into your face. So all of these are signs of amygdala hijack happening. Yeah. So when you feel stressed, but what happens in our modern day scenario is that this amygdala hijack happens for not so serious things. Yeah. So it may be just like because of our lifestyle, because of our caffeine and nicotine and other things, and our environment and our technology. So we have all of these EMFs and signals and things. So our triggers get much easier to get into this amygdala. So for things that don't need all of this fight, flight, freeze response, we still get triggered. Yeah. So when we recognize that this is happening, and that recognition can help you to control those impulses and regulate your insights, have self-regulation, to control you and come back to a normal state. Yeah, so this doesn't get triggered unnecessarily. So this is some of the analysis behind this. But if you Google this, you'll find some good videos and shows how you can effectively deal with this amygdala hijack affecting you and stressing you out. So if this gets triggered too much, it raises your stress level in your body, and it can lead to health problems as well later on. So you need to be able to pull down your signal and able to control these kinds of emotions. Yeah. Hopefully that explanation was able to follow through. If there are any questions, feel free to let me know. So simple steps, live one day at a time. Don't worry too much about the future, about things that's going to happen and what's not going to happen. Am I going to have my job? Am I going to lose my job? Is the economy going to be bad? This is that. Leave it to Allah Azza wa Jal. Tawakkal ala Allah. Live one day at a time. Yeah. Get the facts, right? Sometimes it's just worry, not based on facts. So try to get the facts when possible. We talked about the worry buster technique before, the timeline technique, and of course we talked about the 6-second rule to wait and not immediately react. So those will significantly reduce your stress levels on how you deal with things. Okay. All right. Any other tips that you may have used that you can also share with us? Because it's not one way to control, right? Different people have learned different things. What has helped you to control, self-regulate effectively? You can feel free to share as well. Sorry? Drink water, drink plain water, yeah. That's all. Water helps. Sometimes it might be dehydration. Go to a natural place, yeah, I agree. Nature has a calming effect on us, no doubt, yeah. So alhamdulillah, Malaysia has no shortage of great natural places, yeah. You can go for a hike. Jogging also helps when you're able to get the heart rate up, blood flow circulating, and all of that helps to feel better. It releases endorphins.